Good morning. Slightly different setup today. Technology has not been my best friend this week, but let's hope that we can do something better with it just now. So a slightly different setup. So if the phone does decide to move itself, then I'll straighten up in a wee minute, but it seems fairly settled and steady. So welcome. It's Tuesday, 13th of October, and looking at all that's happening around about us, new restrictions, sometimes it's just not that easy to keep smiling and to keep going through. We all have our difficult days and our difficult times. But within that, we do eventually, sometimes not immediately, but we do eventually find the positives and the things that are going to get us through. And more often than not, it's not a thing that's going to get us through. It's a person. And often that's someone close to us who can make us smile, who can just help us to see a different side of things perhaps, who can maybe even just sit us down for a moment, get us a cup of tea or something, and make the world seem better. So yeah, times like these don't mean that every day is going to be bouncy and good. It doesn't mean that every day is going to be awful. Because life goes on in amongst this pandemic. And life goes on, and if people of faith, with myself and you, I hope, we have another thread and another dimension which will help us. And Bible stories. It's a Bible stories book, Old Testament mainly. But sometimes we're not in the mood for reading. Sometimes we just want to have the pictures. When I was younger, I didn't read at all, and if a book didn't have pictures in it, I really wasn't interested. I liked the cartoons. I liked the things that were visual, with as little words as possible. Just wasn't me. Changed times. However, Bible stories, and it doesn't matter that you can't read this the right way round, because inside there are no words. It is simply pictures, Old Testament pictures. But even that, if we look back and look at our stories that we remember, even from Sunday school or maybe Bible studies that we've done recently, and we discover that the Bible stories are, well, there's a Bible, but sorry, let's try and get that right. There's Adam and Eve. Now we can think a lot about Adam and Eve, and we can think about the fruit, and maybe that's a good thing in harvest. There's Noah's Ark and the wonderful rainbow that we're all familiar with, of course, and the dove of peace. Just wonderful image that we can get so much from and can maybe help us in the difficult days. Just going through quickly now. The Tower of Babel, boy, communication in this world really does need to be better sometimes. Jonah and the whale, or the big fish, if we're going to be pedantic about it. Going on a bit, Moses. Oh, two of Moses there. Just had to check what that one was. Just trying to see it in the screen. Lots of stories. Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Again, we can be pedantic about that too. But lots of stories that remind us of God's presence and of his strength. And in our faith, we sometimes just need a wee picture in our heads to remind us that he's there. Unfortunately, not everyone gets that from Bible stories. And some people would rather say fairy stories or just a lot of nonsense. Because when they open the Bible and they know what we see is the wonderful pictures that remind us, when they open the Bible, what they see is absolutely nothing. And they don't understand. They can't see what we see. And therefore they can't understand and they can't get the messages that we get. Because we're looking with different eyes, we're looking with different understandings and perspectives. And when we look at the Bible and the Bible stories, we are looking at them from our experience, and the experience which tells us that our God is real and is with us. And that no matter what pictures we look at, and if we look at the stories that are there, and the burning bush, and we can see that there are lessons for us, and there's a strength for us and a real hope. And sometimes we want to be able to help others to see that and to understand that and to get it. Because it doesn't wipe away all our problems, but it does give us an extra strength that says, God's here with us. And we can look and see, how do we actually start to help people to see the colour pictures that you and I can see in there? Perhaps. Sometimes it starts very gradually, and sometimes we have to start really quite easily. And perhaps one of the things that we should be doing is just trying to draw them a picture ourselves. Now, easy for me to say, certainly not easy for me to do, as you will know. I'm not exactly the world's greatest artist or creative person at all. But there are people who can do that. And perhaps we can do that for people around us, just to start and show them what it means to believe in God. And maybe just draw them some black and white pictures. Just say, this is a sketch. This is a sketch, an understanding of how I understand God, of what I get from God. And of course, the black and white pictures, they're good and they will give the story, but they don't give the colour and the excitement and the adventure. And so we want them to say, well, what can we do to make these more attractive, more exciting? Two things, really. One is that God adds colour. God adds colour to our lives continually. And perhaps it's only when we've taken that step of faith that we realise that extra dimension that he gives. He's got a palette of paints, and not just colours, but experiences that bring life to life and bring the world to a life that we hadn't realised was there before. But also, perhaps we need to be involved too. And whether or not we can stay in the lines, and whether or not we choose the right colours that go in the right place, we can start to colour in too, and we can help people on their journey to begin to colour the stories, to begin to dig deeper into the stories. We can give an outline of a story. As I am used to doing very plainly, I can give people the details, the facts that are required. But sometimes folk need the footnotes. A friend we met, she said, no, tell me the story. I don't need the footnotes. Just tell me the story. But sometimes we need the footnotes, the additional information. That's what we do in Bible studies sometimes, but also in church and through sermons and just through reading and through life and chat. We get to find out what other people will colour and what other people bring to it. And together we can make the line drawings, the bare bones of things, into something much more exciting and attractive for other people. So we can take these, and I know some people will be desperately just heading for their crayons now because they love colouring in. And why not? It's therapeutic, I'm sure, for many of you. For others of us, it's better for other people to colour it in so that we just get the pictures and we don't have to bother with all working out what colour goes where and how to do it and having the patience to do it. This, of course, this book gives us the three options. It gives us the three options not by any mystery or magic, but simple by a practical thing that happens in the book. But when it comes to faith and when it comes to God supporting us every day, that is something that we can't explain and we can't rationalise. It's something that needs to be grasped and accepted and held. So however you're feeling today, and maybe you're feeling like there's nothing on the page. Maybe it's a lovely blank page that you are able to make of as you wish. But for so many people, the days are blank, not exciting, not full, nothing there. So what can we do today to help someone to find the picture, to build the picture and to colour it. Whatever it is that we can do for one person. And maybe it's a wee one who's off school at the moment, who's already bored come Tuesday morning. And we need to find a game or a colouring book or a story or a walk or something to help them get out of the boredom and out of that blank page and engage and be involved in life that is good and exciting. Like I said, in these times and in every time, no matter pandemic or not, every day cannot be on the high places of the mountaintops. But if they're not, then we can dig deep and discover that somewhere in there, there's a God and maybe a friend like you who's going to make contact and say, let's find out what we can make of the day together. Let us pray. Lord, help us to look and to really look to you, to see and then really see all that you have done and all that you offer to us day by day. Help us to look at the oldest stories, to find your teaching and direction, and then give ourselves a bit of time to appreciate the detail, to see the colour that you have added to each account, that brings to life for us today your teachings, your love, your presence, and the truths that we need to hear again and again. Lord, give us commitment to you and to your creation, so that we do not simply settle for the black and white, but search for the colour, and then help you to add colour to the life in and around us. Lord, direct us in ways that we can add wonder and fun and laughter and colour for our family and our friends. Perhaps a smile or a phone call or a letter written with care. A prayer for the people we know are hurting, are suffering, are weary, or tired. For those who are struggling today to see any hope. Direct our minds, our hearts, and our spirits. Direct our thoughts, our words, and our deeds. And give us strength, energy, and hope when we are flagging. God, we give thanks for the glorious colours of autumn, on trees and on shrubs as the seasons change. And we give thanks for the joyous sounds of children and the laughter of friends, for the sights and sounds, all of them, that stop us in our tracks. And as we stop, Lord, may we give thanks. In all that this week holds for each and for all, Lord, be by our side. Hold us and enfold us by your grace and in your love, today and always. Amen. Colours of day dawn into the mind. Well, certainly won't dawn onto the page of any colouring book that I'm going to have. But for you, may your day be bright and colourful. And if it's not, then perhaps someone will give you a call and help you to smile and help you to see that there is hope and there is love for you from God and from the people round about you. God bless you today. Enjoy it, whatever you're doing.